I'm wondering if you could share any insights around plot twists, shocking reveals, and red herrings and their placement in the story arc to keep the pacing right and the tension high. Although I'm not writing a mystery slash crime, I am writing an adventurous high stakes fantasy and want to pace shocking plot twists correctly to avoid them being predictable. Thanks.
Yeah, so there you've got lots of choices, right? So you can place, you'll often see those placed in a story arc scene. It doesn't have to be. If it's in the general area, like the scene before or the scene after, that's great. What you don't want to do after plot point 2 is where it starts to get, you can do a plot twist, but you can't have a new piece of information. So if you get a new piece of information after plot point 2, before the climax, and that causes a plot twist, that's not fair to the reader. They get like, oh, well, that's a coincidence. You didn't set that up earlier. Needs to be early enough, right? So really that's with plot twists, you want to set them up so they feel natural, and that, there could be a plot twist right before the climax scene, whereas, oh no, they're never going to make it. But what has to happen earlier in the story is the reader understands why that plot twist is there, which is more important than the actual placement, because it has to feel natural. If it's just a plot twist, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's coincidental, and that was thrown in just because it makes the climax seem more interesting or more exciting. So it's the lead up to it, that there's hints along the way, and then the reader goes, oh yeah, I didn't see that coming, but yeah, and then they're never going to succeed. But
I love that. I would also add that if you haven't read Save the Cat Writes a Novel specifically, there are a lot of like small things in there that I think can be similar to what Kristina was saying earlier about like the lexicon being a little different between Fictionary and Save the Cat. There's a lot of things in there that can be the places for those reveals. So the place where you inject your ticking clock in the latter half of Act 2 is a great place to, we're having that ticking clock because of a plot twist or because of a reveal. Obviously, like your Dark Knight Epiphany is a great time to have like an emotional reveal, but sometimes that All Is Lost gave you a big reveal that made you feel like you were in that space. So there's a lot of like the smaller like sub beats almost.
And the sub beats is very complex, right? Like that's a huge topic of the sub beats and what's leading up to a plot point and what's happening. Plot points are big moments. When there's a big moment, the scene after, there needs to be a reaction.
Yes.
Like it's something big happened. So so I should say this, the next scene that the protagonist is in. So let's say there's an inciting incident with the protagonist, something dramatic happens, they have to react to it. So if you saw a dragon for the first time in your life, in the inciting incident, you got to react to it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the scene after, because that could be told from somebody else's point of view. It could be a subplot that's happening. But the scene where the protagonist is next in it, you got to react that you just saw a dragon. You can't just like, oh, look, there's a dragon who, just jumped on my hole and squished it or something, right? You have to, the reaction is really important to the story arc scenes. And that's where you can show your character growth, so that as they go through the story, they grow because of these big events and plot twist things that happen to them.
If you enjoyed this video, we've got a lot more on writingmastery.com. Check the description for links to our blog, free writing tools, and more. Happy writing.